Today we're hopping in our balloon and exploring distant islands, looking through our telescope and trying to find out what's going on down there. We're playing Islands in the Mist.
So Islands in the Mist is an up to 4-player game where you're going to be exploring a mist-shrouded island. Now each player at the table has their own island, and they are going to explore it by way of hot air balloon. Your ultimate goal is to connect all 6 different shores to the center by discovering the pieces in between. We discover a piece under the mist by laying a tile over it. We get those from this black bag here. Okay, I mean, it sounds simple enough. I just walk around the island and discover things. Wrong! You are subject to the fickle winds of this land. Every round, one player's job is to roll the dice. One of the dice just shows like a special benefit, and the other one tells you the direction the wind is blowing. Each player marks that direction on their player board and decides if they're happy with it or if they want to spend some of their precious energy to fight against it. So your speed is determined by the square you're starting on. In this case, I was starting on 2. I can juice that and go a little further, 1 for 1 by using energy. If I'd rather go a different direction than the wind is blowing, I have to pay to completely stop and then move at a 2-to-1 ratio against the wind. So after moving on your turn, you now have a choice. Which cloud do you want to pull all the tiles from? You take everything on a cloud, so it's up to you if you want to put them in your hand, which can hold 5, or if you want to consume that tile for some energy. The last phase in your turn is where you actually explore. This is when you look through your telescope and you take tiles off of the lenses in your hand and put them down onto the land. Now remember, your goal is to take the terrain that's on each coast and connect it to the center. And you get more points for matching those tiles. You kind of want to pull the wetlands to the center, the desert to the center, and the mountains to the center, for example. There's a couple other pieces that show up here that you can use. For one, there's wilds. Wilds score half as much, 1 point instead of 2, but they really connect anything you need, so they're very valuable. Now notice here that I covered up a square that gave me some energy. There's also squares that take away victory points at the end of the game, like volcanoes, and there are ones that give you special pieces. Like here, when I cover up this one, I get to pick a piece from the bag. Now there's also city pieces, which break your terrain connections, but they score based on all the terrain that's around it, so they can be pretty valuable. And monuments score you 3 points each if you're the player with the most at the end of the game. Once a player has connected all 6 shores, they earn 10 bonus points, and there's one more round for players to finish up what they were doing. Players do final scoring by each terrain type, and a number of other bonuses I kind of mentioned as we went. So that's the core game. There are 2 additional modes that add new mechanics, one of which you can see here is a harbor you can fly to and do some trading. Module 3 introduces quite a bit of complexity.
I actually quite like it. I think you'll like this game if you like small to medium amount of randomness, relatively straightforward sense for strategy, and then just kind of watching it evolve over time. The theme is pretty nice too.